Good morning, this is Sandra at plumgoodquilting.com. This morning I thought I'd show you a few tools and how easy it is to make a few little flowers out of a simple design. This anybody can do because I can do it. I am going to click on the Ellipse tool, what I call the oval tool, but I want to first show you exactly how it can be used. If I drag it with my left finger on the mouse, I end up with an oval. That makes sense. It's an Ellipse tool. However, I'd like to have a circle, so I'm going to press down on the Shift key and pull out, and you'll notice my circle. But if I let go at the same time with both fingers, I'll still end up with an oval. So I have to lift my left finger off of the mouse, now lift the Shift, and I have a perfect circle. However, if I started with this and I didn't want to go out and make another one, I could change the shape of this very quickly. I would go to the scale window, unlock the aspect, and put in, let's say, 2 and 2, and apply, and I would still end up with a circle. So you can do many different ways to get where you want to be, but I thought you might like to see those. Okay, now let's try a square. This square is really going to be a rectangle, okay, because I didn't use a Shift key. And if you'll notice, it has pointed corners, has very square corners, 90 degrees. But if I hold the Shift key down, and drag, that didn't work, did it? Okay, let's get a pointer and we're going to get rid of that little dot right there. Okay. If I hold the Shift key down and pull, I get a square. Be sure to lift your finger off the mouse, then off the key. You have a square and a rectangle. The same thing will do with the rounded corners. You can press the Shift key, press the button, and end up with round corners. Now you have a square or a rectangle depending on which you lifted first. I lifted my finger off the Shift key first. So watch what happens when I put the press the Shift key down, the mouse key down, drag, lift the mouse off. You notice the numbers all left. Now the Shift key. I have a square. So it depends on what you're looking for when you're doing these. And another quick little thing that won't take but a minute, even though I want to get into showing you how to do some interesting little designs that are quick and easy. Let's try this. We're going to do one of these kind of crazy things. I don't know. Sometimes when I start something, I'm not sure how it'll turn out, and you won't be either. But if I go to the Modify window on the top right, I can go to what's called Subtract All. And when I do this, watch what happens. I end up with anything that connected, pulled that design out. Now I'm going to try it again with this area and see what happens. I have another design. You can get some really unusual designs, or you can plan it to get particular designs. That'll come in time, but these are just little simple demonstrations of how many different tools there are, and believe me, every tool does more than one thing. Here is an interesting ellipse. I took an oval like here, okay, and I'm going to draw this oval out. If you'll notice, that one's a little wider, so we're going to get the Select key and we're going to widen this one just a little. Double click, you get you a point, and you'll see I've got it a little wider here. Okay, Now I'm going to take this one and I'm going to pull it out and turn it, and I get a pointed end like I do on that end. And here I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to take one of these and go in or out with it depending on how I want it to look. You'll notice now I have almost like a leaf pattern, and it depends on how sharp of a point you want for what kind of flower you're going to turn out. This one had a rounded point, see, and those both have a little sharper. So we're going to start with this one, and I'm not going to put fabric in there or color in there right now, because what I want to do is show you what quickly is made from that simple little pattern. I go to my replicate window and rotate down here 2 copies, and when I do that I end up with 6 points. So now with my select key I'm going to encircle all of these, right click, and weld. Now I have a 6-pointed star. This is very much like this one. Now I can fill this in with color like I've done in the past. Usually I'm going to go down to a new one that's called Toll Christmas. It's coming in, supposed to be shipped in today, and I'm planning on using a color like that, like I did on this one. And I alternated colors, so when I stacked these, we're going to go to duplicate. So this one I would make smaller, maybe quite a bit smaller, and save it. Okay, this one I'm going to duplicate again, and like I did on the last one, we're going to make this one smaller as well. Take your arrow tool when you place it over, and when you get to this, you'll notice they're the exact same. So we're going to want to twist them and then decide how much size difference there is. I think that it still needs to come out a little bit, give us a little bit more interest. And then this one, honestly, I'm thinking I might just go about like that. Oops, we had a problem. It didn't go on top. So we're going to right click on the star with it selected, and we're going to tell it to bring to the front. And let's see if that works. It did. So now we've got even a different one than all of these. But if we want to have it look a little bit more like a poinsettia, then we'd keep these a little bit more equal, because even though they might get a little smaller, they're not going to get that small. And because I knew what I was going to be making, oops, let's bring this to the front by right clicking. Now we have another little flower, and we could call it a poinsettia if we wanted to. We could even add more little center pieces if we wanted. Now we can decide what size we want it to be. Oops, look what was back there that didn't get grabbed. Let's go ahead and reverse this. And if you remember when I did this before, this one didn't get grabbed because the select tool, when I put this around it, did not catch the back piece. Okay, and if you can see, it didn't catch it there either. So what we're going to do is shift, click, click, and click, and click. Okay, because we want them all together. Right click, and it says it's not going to group because it still doesn't have them all. Okay, shift and shift and right click and group. Now let's see if they'll all move. They did. So they're all grouped together. Now I can decide what size I'd like them to be. There's ways to correct almost anything, and all of us make errors, and I certainly make plenty of them. But usually it has something to do with being able to grab them. You haven't picked up all areas that you wanted when you thought you did. So here's one of our designs, and here I had taken some and just made little tiny stars in it. And again, I'm going to try to catch all this together, and let's see if it works. We're going to try to group these. And if they're grouped, they didn't get grouped, did they? Well, I could even leave it like that if I wanted to. There's many poinsettias that are designed like that. And I believe this one was already ready. So look at the beautiful designs that you can get from one simple design that started out with a simple leaf. I think you'll enjoy trying these little tricks, and believe me, this is just the beginning. Have fun. I enjoyed you today. I hope you enjoyed seeing a little manipulation of some simple tools. Good day.